guys, we are in Carthay Circule. This is one of the fine dining restaurants and probably the highest level inside the parks itself. We have dinner reservations here tonight. We are going to see what it's like. We have a vegetarian, a gluten-free crustacean and other allergy person, and someone who can eat most of everything. So we're going to try it out, see what we think. It's been about 6 years since I've been here. We can't wait to try it again, and we can't wait to take you along. So sit back and relax. Let's make some magic.
So Carthay Circule is themed after the original Carthay Circule Theater. It was a movie theater in the 1930s located in Los Angeles that premiered Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937 to be exact. These pictures are actually of the lobby of the original Carthay Circule. If you look at that lamp right there, it's the same as the ones out here.
Oh, nice.
Very attentive to detail. Yes. Yeah, so we are kind of 20s styled themed, even though Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out in 1937. In our main dining room, we do have a mural of Snow White. Pretty cool. So yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. Even though the theater doesn't exist, we get to be.
You get to be. You're that little bit of history that's not history.
Come on out.
Thank you.
Guys, about 3,000 people to show up for the premiere. You got 30,000. We're gonna pause right here, make sure the coast is clear, and we're heading off to the right.
Off to the right.
So our mural, even our chandeliers are supposed to look like the Evil Queen's castle.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
The chandeliers are supposed to look like the Evil Queen's castle.
It does a lot.
And we're going over here to this.
Oh, awesome. The menu. This is the spring menu. They do have seasonal menus. The one thing we did notice, which is kind of a big deal for Disney, pardon me, it's kind of a big deal for Disney, is that there is no plant-based option on this menu. So we're going to have a talk with the chef. And I talked to the chef about my allergens and figuring out what I'm going to eat before we can go ahead and make a meal. Interesting. Okay, so interesting things. So we asked about, we looked at the menu of this particular menu, and there's no vegetarian option on here at all, not one. So we asked about it, and they said, well, there is a pasta option. So she'd been eating a lot of pasta all week, and that wasn't necessarily something she wanted to do. So they have a ravioli with some veggies in it for the entree, and then they had a gnocchi for the appetizer. So they we're not sure how so she liked the idea of the gnocchi, but she would like to do a full plate of that rather than a full plate of that rather than as just an appetizer. So we will see how that goes. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then for me, there were a few options where they can modify them a little bit. The only appetizer I can have is the salad. The only appetizer she could have was the salad minus the salami, which means it would have English peas and pine nuts with lettuce, and that's it. So yeah, so there's options for me are the pork chop, the sustainable fish, and the ribeye for the entrees. I doubt there's even a dessert. I will say that having had such a nice experience here, this is very limited and very disappointing for me this time. But there are things we're going to try, and they might be tremendous when they come in. So we're going to give it a chance instead of doing the entree pasta and doing pasta and pasta.
All right, so this is the gnocchi, and it's got mushrooms.
It's an artichoke puree.
Of course.
Yep.
Is that what that is?
That's what it was. It was artichoke.
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool.
Okay. It's crispy.
Okay, so pan fried. Is it decent?
It's nice. It's completely inoffensive.
Okay, I can accept that.
Hi.
Okay, good, thank you. It's on a polenta.
Yeah, so there's a mustard sort of sauce around the outside. And this was polenta? I'm just going to taste that.
No, the polenta's on the bottom.
No, what is this on the top? I don't remember. Artichokes? Angus artichokes.
Okay.
That's actually pretty tasty. There's a little bit of a pickle taste there, but it's not like, well, and there's something peppery in there. It took a second for it to register.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to carve this pork chop.
Give me the big one.
Yeah, the artichoke is really, like, the heat just hit the back of my throat.
Okay, yeah.
There's a slight pink to the pork.
It's probably good. Keep it a little moisture.
All right, I'm trying not to take a huge bite to start with, because then I'll never finish chewing.
Right.
There's an outside, like a spice around the outside that I'm trying to identify.
Okay.
It's not hot spice. It's a little bit sweet, actually. And it's nice and moist. I don't know if that came from the polenta. Oh, it came from the polenta because it's like a mustardy flavor. It might be this. So I think there's two different things there. There's polenta here and the mustardy thing.
We're working our way around.
All right, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. So the combination of the polenta and the mustard sauce on the bottom is really nice.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice pork chop.
Okay. We're gonna try the sustainable fish. Oh, by the way, if I haven't done it already, the pictures go right here. All right, so it's over a bed of lentils. And let's give it a taste. It's a striped sea bass. Nice crisp on the skin. A little heavy on the salt. But you know me, I'm picky about my salt. I'm going to take a little more of the lentils, a layer of lentils from the bottom. Lentils are really good. They have a nice flavor to them. It's good. Is it the best meal I've had since I've been here? Probably not. But it's good. It's really good. So we're going to finish up our food and settle up. And we'll show you the bill when it gets here. Here's the bill. And we have, each of us got an entree. One of us really got an appetizer versus an entree. And then I got the one glass of wine. And the total is $143.31. That was yours. That was. Oh, I see what they did. Okay, and then. Oh, we are back in the room. Welcome to our semi-crowded space. And I thought I would just kind of follow up since we didn't really want to say. Oh, okay. Since we didn't really want to say a whole lot, then let me straighten this out. Okay. Ooh, I'm flanked. So we didn't want to say a whole lot in the restaurant. We did want to talk a little more about what we learned at Carthay Circule. So pre-pandemic. Disney World has a policy where every single menu has to have a plant-based vegan option and like usually at least something that can be made gluten-free, etc. Then the pandemic hit, and they were about to roll it out here in Disney World. Now they were about to roll it out here in Disneyland. So in Disney World, they've kept that policy, and every menu has something that is plant-based and is not just, here's Primavera Alfredo, you know, the generics, cheapy, every hotel, every, you know, wedding you went to, cheap vegetarian option. So when the pandemic hit here, they stopped rolling out that policy. So there are a number of restaurants right now that don't have vegetarian food. This was one of them. There was nothing on the menu that was vegetarian. Now, they said you could modify the salad to take the salami off, which meant it was a pine nut, English peas, and lettuce salad. And then they said they had a gnocchi with some vegetables in there that was sauteed and actually ended up being flavorful and tasty. And then there was an entree of ravioli with asparagus and some other things as well. But basically that meant your appetizer entrees were pasta and pasta, or your meal would be pasta and pasta, basically. So and the meal I got had lentils in it. So why they couldn't, we don't know how they cooked the lentils, what they did to them, but, you know, wouldn't it have made sense to make the lentils something that everybody could enjoy? So that was the first thing. And throw in your comments here if you disagree or agree or whatever.
No, you got it. That was
Okay.
a very excellent summary.
Okay. Then the waiter, when I said I've got a number of allergies, and having looked at the menu, I really wasn't sure what I could do. I said, I think I'm going to need to speak to the chef, especially because when her menu didn't have anything. He's like, well, I can answer any of your questions for you. I'm like, that's not Disney policy. Now, that's not Disney World policy, and if you're not on Disney property, you expect that. But on Disney property, I expected the opportunity to speak with the chef. It sounded like he was afraid to ask the chef, and the chef was going to be pissed at him, or he just decided he knew everything that needed to be answered, but he didn't. And that was very frustrating. We spent a lot of time just kind of waiting to figure out what we could do. And when we didn't sound thrilled with the ideas, he was like, he realized he had to go and get better information. And it was frustrating. I don't think he was giving off any male know-it-all vibes. I didn't get that. No.
His
phrasing
smile was very fake.
I'm quite capable, so maybe a little bit.
A little arrogant, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I can take care of you, and that's why I kept wondering, like, is the chef in the back pissed off when they bring him out to come and talk to us? Because I could seem like, no, I can take care of you, don't, you know, because he doesn't want to upset the chef, for who knows if they were slammed or whatever. But, you know, at a Wine Country Trattoria, there was no problem doing that, and they were busy when they came out to talk to me. So it really was disconcerting. The food was okay. You know, the flavor, the fish flavors were okay. I found myself getting a little, and it could have been just from everything else I ate that day, but I felt myself feeling a little queasy at the end of it, just like I didn't finish the fish. I could have eaten a lot more of the lentils, and even without the little guajillo chili sauce, I could have done without that. I was fine, but I would have been fine without that. But the lentils were really nice, and I think that means I need to make lentils when I go home. It's supposed to be themed like a 1920s era styled restaurant, and that's great, but it shouldn't look like it was styled to be a 1920s restaurant in its 1950s. I felt like the upholstery was looking dingy and dirty. The upkeep wasn't good, and this is their signature restaurant. And for signature, you expect that status level, and it felt... You can be 1920s and be deco and have a sense of style and class. And I know they were trying to mimic the exact place. Like, they had the same light fixtures that they had in the exact place. But you can still keep it up in terms of the quality of the space, etc. And I didn't feel they did that. The restaurant as a whole.
It felt like they wanted it to feel opulent, but it felt like it had been opulent for somebody's great grandparents.
Yeah, a while ago. Yeah. Now, beyond the staff that we had, the waiter we had, the rest of the staff was actually pretty phenomenal. We had a guy that came up and was giving us water, and he was like Johnny on the spot, making sure we had our water. He was giving us information on stuff. He was the one who actually let us know that Disneyland hasn't gone forward with that policy for the food, as well as, you know, when I went downstairs and I was trying to figure out which set of doors to walk out, and there was a team of people there, and one of them was like, it's like, oh, did you want to go out the front door or the center? I'm like, that's more walking. And he went, let me let you out this door. And he walked me to the door, you know, from the front door rather than the side door, and opened the door and held the door for me. You know, I mean, you didn't need to do that. You know, so the staffing in general is good, and they usually have to be that higher quality, but I felt like maybe our guy had a really off day, but it was like, it felt like he was struggling. Like when we were suddenly shocked by the lack of options in the menu, he didn't know what to do. So, I mean, that's my take on it. Right now, if it stays the way it is right now, I wouldn't go back. And I loved that place last time. I was all about going back there. It was incredible, and I was like, so that was one of the meals I was the most excited about doing. I would not go back right now. I mean, you know, the staff was nice, and if you can eat everything, there's some more options. There were a bunch of appetizers that looked really good that I couldn't touch. But that's my thoughts. All right, your thoughts, now that I've rambled.
Okay, well, so the appetizers that we couldn't have
Yeah.
looked like they could have, if they weren't pre-made back there waiting,
Right.
they could have been modified to be friendly.
Right.
But they were never an option.
Right.
And the only options were things that he didn't even know were options when he first answered me and talked about the pasta with vegetables.
Right.
And then saw my disappointed face and ran away. Sorry. I hope I only looked disappointed. I don't think I looked angry.
No, I think we were all a little bit like we were a little.
I was surprised.
We were a little like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
Like, what? You know,
Yeah.
your signature, and you don't. I mean, I'm sorry. When you go to a top level restaurant, they have accommodations. They make accommodations, and if Disney is trying to bring in that audience that has slightly more unusual food options or needs, then, you know, if you ask us what our allergens are or what our needs are before we walk in, you need to be able to accommodate them.
That's what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't say we had a vegetarian or a vegan. I don't. But I mean,
we shouldn't have to say that.
I understand
what year
that.
Is it?
I understand that. But we checked other. You know, so they didn't know what the other is. I mean, it happened to be my chickpea allergy, but you know, I felt I was just really disappointed. Any other thoughts, Miss Brass?
I was trying to deal with that cough. No, really, because the limitations don't affect me so much.
Right.
Like, if you guys hadn't wanted to stay for the meal because of the limitations, I'd been fine with that. But, I mean, the pork chop I had was fine.
Okay.
I wasn't as limited.
Right. Right, true, true. And that's the thing that we are up against is, you know, vegetarian. You know, she can do dairy and stuff, but pretty much, like, most of the meals she's had over the last few days have been pasta and salad.
And that's what he wanted me to have again.
Yeah. And bland salad.
And it would have been different even if the gnocchi had been on the menu to begin with.
Right, if we'd seen it as an option, but it wasn't it wasn't there. It was we're going to throw this together for you because you happen to show up, but we don't have this for you. You know, and that's disappointing, especially because it's a seasonal menu. Why in the world wouldn't you have some kind of a vegetarian dish on there? It doesn't make sense. And Disney really should be doing better. And Disney World does. Disney World is awesome for this. But Disneyland, you're a home ship. You know, you are the baby that started this all, and I'm disappointed. You know, the food was fine. What we had, you know, her gnocchi was perfectly serviceable. Had decent flavors. My fish, like I said, the lentils were awesome. The fish was okay. It was the seasonal fish. It was a striped sea bass, I think, and it was cooked fine, and the skin has nice crisp to it. It was all, but.
And then there was no dessert for you.
Yeah. Oh no, there was sorbet.
Oh, there was sorbet.
It was dragon fruit sorbet, which is a slightly more interesting one. I did not ask whether or not it was made by them or if it was an outside store bought, but I'm pretty sure it would have been an outside store bought. And I'm not spending like, you know, $8 on a store bought bowl of sorbet. I'm just not. Plus, you know, we were starting to get chili in the restaurant and stuff, and adding cold to that is not useful. So, you know, I guess that's our thoughts on that. If this video has helped you figure out how to eat at Disneyland or what not to do, please give this a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, you know, like, share, all that good stuff. Comment down below. Have you eaten at Carthay Circule? Have you had a better experience? Especially if you are vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, that you have those limitations. Have you had a better experience? Because if you have, you know, that's important to know.
I'd like to know.
Yeah, I really would. So, you know, drop that in the comments and let us know. And I hope this has helped. And it's getting late because I don't have a tagline. I don't have a tagline. I don't have a tagline. Singing hey ho, a maiden's life, 1, 2, 3. Hey ho, a maiden's life, won't you drink with me?